Okay, my name is Matt Corcoran, and my project is on the lobster industry as it applies to microeconomic concepts. My main focus is on the United States and even more specifically on Maine, which is responsible for the lion's share of all lobsters caught in the US, with a number of over 90%. So, if you've ever been to Chickies and Pete's with the family, maybe you're going there for an event or somebody's birthday or something, maybe you're feeling a little fancy and you get a lobster roll or some lobster tail, and it's always delicious. You always have a good time. And you might be wondering what the market for this delicious but expensive item really looks like and what's going on with it today. So I'm going to get into that. Okay, so just a general overview of what this industry looks like. Of all the market models that we went over in class, the lobster industry is most similar to monopolistic competition. So there's a great deal of differentiation of products in this industry, which makes it distinct from more of like a pure competition type field. Some of this differentiation occurs in species of lobster, size, freshness. There's even an aspect of growing importance of sustainability if the lobster is harvested sustainably. These are all major selling points that contribute to the significant non-price competition of this market. Fishermen also have some control over pricing. They don't have to follow the set market price for all lobster products. They have a little bit of liberty there as well. This being said, the industry has generally inelastic demand. So there are limited close substitutes, and demand is relatively price insensitive. And this is due to seasonal availability and seasonal demand, meaning the same times of year every year are going to be the biggest selling points for lobster. Like in the summer, that's when like lobster is harvested in New England and Maine, and that is the summer months are some of the biggest for lobster sales, as well as holidays and days that people are consistently year after year buying lobster for fancy meals, for get-togethers with family. These are pretty consistent trends that you're going to see year after year. So I've got this graph from 2008 to 2022 for Maine lobster landings. The value in millions is in green, and then the pounds in millions is in blue. So you see this little spike here, actually this tremendous spike in value. This is not a coincidence. This is actually the result of an unforeseen circumstance, and it does not disprove that this is a typically rather inelastic market. This is an unforeseen circumstance. This is the result of the pandemic on the lobster industry, specifically in Maine. So you can see here in 2020, we have a little bit of a drop and then an absolute spike to 2021. And this is a result of people being locked inside their house, gathering up money, and just wanting to spend it in 2021 when government regulations become a little bit more lenient, more restaurants open their doors, more people are out and about and buying things that they could not previously afford, one of which includes lobster, which is considered to be a luxury food item. And due to inflation-related issues in 2022, you're going to see this drop in both the value and the pound supplied. Now, the pound supplied did increase with the value to make up for or to take advantage of some of the opportunity that was given and make sure that they were producing, harvesting their product as efficiently as they possibly could. So, interconnected industries, we have these fish right here. These are menhaden or bunker, as they're most often called. These fish swarm in the thousands, and they are the most popular bait for lobster. So the bunker fishing industry is heavily dependent upon the lobster fishing industry to buy them as bait, and vice versa. These are very mutually interdependent industries. Positive and negative externalities. A positive externality would be the tourism industry in New England and Maine, especially, considering that a lot of people make their trip up there for the lobster, for the seafood. It's a huge part of their culture and their identity. These tourism, like companies, seafood shacks, whatever, depend heavily upon the presence of lobster. So when the lobster industry is doing well, these companies experience some economic spillover. Negative externalities would include bycatch of other species of marine life and pollution, light, chemical, and noise pollution, all coming from lobster boats. These would all be examples of negative externalities to other industries in the area. Some threats to the industry. So we have climate change. Pictured here is the Gulf of Maine, which is widely considered to be a lobster haven. It is also warming faster than 99% of the global ocean surface. And these rising temperatures are forcing lobster populations to shift further north and outside of the ranges that they were previously caught at, which serves as a great disadvantage to American lobster fishermen and causes a decrease in the lobster supply. Canadian competition. So the United States is a huge exporter of lobster, with most of our exports going to Canada or China. In 2023 alone, we exported 34,978 tons of lobster. While Canada does share this Northwest Atlantic kind of lobster haven with the United States, as of recent, their regulations are a lot more lenient on the minimum size of lobster that's being able to be kept. And I got a little graphic right here. Just a 1/16 of an inch makes a huge difference in the profitability of a company. And as long as Canada keeps up this kind of lenient size requirement, the United States is at a disadvantage. And the two countries are now canceling each other, trying to figure out a solution without completely degrading the environment by dropping the United States regulations down. Canadian competition is definitely a factor that is on and off a threat to the industry. To the right here, we have the right whale. It's a endangered and protected species by the United States government. Regulations have been put into place on the lobster fishing industry of what times of year that they can fish, how long their traps can be out in the water, to ensure that these whales do not get caught in any propellers or ropes that leads to traps, and ensure the survival of the species. And kind of a minor threat, alternatives to lobster. Like I said before, there aren't really any close substitutes, but there are some that are growing in popularity in the United States, such as squid, octopus, or jellyfish, as I have depicted here. But honestly, really not a major threat, just kind of a minor one. So this is a quote from the Portland Press Herald, kind of builds on that Canadian competition point, and basically outlines the problem with these differences in regulations with a shared resource. With that in mind, it doesn't make sense to have some lobstermen work under some rules while others work under different ones. A larger minimum size in Canada couldn't help but disrupt markets. It could force American officials to take steps to counteract Canadian rules rather than focus wholly on conservation. And obviously, if the Americans lower their minimum size and it becomes a back and forth, the lobster population will suffer, because lowering the minimum size means that they don't grow as big and they don't grow as plentiful. Some price changes and costs. So from 2022 to 2023, the average price per pound of lobster increased from $3.97 to $4.95, and harvesters made $72 million more in total revenue in 2023 than in 2022, where they made $464.4 million in total revenue. Decreasing supply is to blame for price fluctuations, as well as kind of some inflation-related loss in value of the product itself in 2022. And just dealing with the general fixed and variable costs, the fixed cost being boats and equipment, and the variable costs being greatly affected in the past couple of years being labor and fuel. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you have a great day.